Chapter 7 Salamander. Isn't it nice to know that Ender can do the impossible? The players' deaths have always been sickening. I've always thought the giant's drink was the most perverted part of the whole mind game. But going for the eye like that? This is the one we want to put in command of our fleet? What matters is that he won the game that couldn't be won. I suppose you'll move him now. We were waiting to see how he handled the thing with Bernard. He handled it perfectly. So as soon as he can cope with the situation, you move him to one he can't cope with. Doesn't he get any rest? He'll have a month or two, maybe 3, with his launch group. That's really quite a long time in a child's life. Does it ever seem to you that these boys aren't children? I look at what they do, the way they talk, and they don't seem like little kids. They're the most brilliant children in the world, each in his own way. But shouldn't they still act like children? They aren't normal. They act like history, Napoleon and Wellington, Caesar and Brutus. We're trying to save the world, not heal the wounded heart. You're too compassionate. General Levy has no pity for anyone. All the videos say so, but don't hurt this boy. Are you joking? I mean, don't hurt him more than you have to. Eli sat across from Ender at dinner. I finally figured out how he sent that message, using Bernard's name. Me? Asked Ender. Come on, who else? It sure wasn't Bernard. And Shen isn't too hot on the computer. And I know it wasn't me. Who else? Doesn't matter. I figured out how to fake a new student entry. You just created a student named Bernard Blank. Bernard space. So the computer didn't kick it out as a repeat of another student. Sounds like that might work, said Ender. Okay. It does work. But you did that practically on the first day. Or somebody, maybe Dap did it, to keep Bernard from getting too much control. I found something else. I can't do it with your name. Oh? Anything with Ender in it gets kicked out. I can't get inside your files at all either. You made your own security system. Maybe. Eli grinned. I just got in and trashed somebody's files. He's right behind me on cracking the system. I need protection, Ender. I need your system. If I give you my system, you'll know how I do it, and you'll get in and trash me. You say me? Asked Eli. I the sweetest friend you got. Ender laughed. I'll set up a system for you. Now? Can I finish eating? You never finish eating. It was true. Ender's tray always had food on it after a meal. Ender looked at the plate and decided he was through. Let's go then. When they got to the barracks, Ender squatted down by his bed and said, Get your desk and bring it over here. I'll show you how. But when Eli brought his desk to Ender's bed, Ender was just sitting there, his lockers closed. What's up? Asked Eli. In answer, Ender palmed his locker. Unauthorized access attempt, it said. It didn't open. Somebody done a dance on your head, Mama. Eli said. Somebody eated your face. You sure you want my security system now? Ender got up and walked away from his bed. Ender, said Eli. Ender turned around. Eli was holding a little piece of paper. What is it? Eli looked at him. Don't you know? This was on your bed. You must have sat on it. Ender took it from him. Ender Wiggin, Assigned Salamander Army, Commander Bonzo Madrid. Effective immediately. Code green, green, brown. No possessions transferred. You're smart, Ender, but you don't do the battle room any better than me. Ender shook his head. It was the stupidest thing he could think of to promote him now. Nobody got promoted before they were 8 years old. Ender wasn't even 7 yet. And launchies usually moved into the armies together, with most armies getting a new kid at the same time. There were no transfer slips on any of the other beds. Just when things were finally coming together, just when Bernard was getting along with everybody, even Ender. Just when Ender was beginning to make a real friend out of Ally. Just when his life was finally getting livable. Ender reached down to pull Ally up from the bed. Salamander Army's in contention anyway, Ally said. Ender was so angry at the unfairness of the transfer that tears were coming to his eyes. Mustn't cry, he told himself. Ally saw the tears, but had the grace not to say so. They're fart heads, Ender. They won't even let you take anything you own. Ender grinned and didn't cry after all. Think I should strip and get naked? Ally laughed too. On impulse, Ender hugged him, tight, almost as if he were Valentine. He thought of Valentine then and wanted to go home. I don't want to go, he said. Ally hugged him back. I understand them, Ender. You are the best of us. Maybe they in a hurry to teach you everything. They don't want to teach me everything, Ender said. I wanted to learn what it was like to have a friend. Ally nodded soberly. Always my friend, always the best of friends, he said. Then he grinned. Go slice up the buggers. Yeah, Ender smiled back. Ally suddenly kissed Ender on the cheek and whispered in his ear, Salam. Then, red-faced, he turned away and walked to his own bed at the end of the barracks. Ender guessed that the kiss and the word were somehow forbidden. A suppressed religion, perhaps. Or maybe the word had some private and powerful meaning for Ally alone. Whatever it meant to Ally, Ender knew that it was sacred, that he had uncovered himself for Ender, as once Ender's mother had done when he was very young, before they put the monitor in his neck, and she had put her hands on his head when she thought he was asleep and prayed over him. Ender had never spoken of that to anyone, not even to Mother, but had kept it as a memory of holiness, of how his mother loved him when she thought that no one, not even he, could hear or see. That was what Ally had given him, a gift so sacred that even Ender could not be allowed to understand what it meant. After such a thing, nothing could be said. Ally reached his bed and turned around to see Ender. Their eyes held for only a moment, locked in understanding. Then Ender left. There would be no green, green, brown in this part of the school. He would have to pick up the colors in one of the public areas. The others would be finished with dinner very soon. He didn't want to go near the mess hall. The game room would be nearly empty. None of the games appealed to him, the way he felt now. So he went to the bank of public desks at the back of the room and signed on to his own private game. He went quickly to Fairyland. The giant was dead when he arrived now. He had to climb carefully down the table, jump to the leg of the giant's overturned chair, and then make the drop to the ground. For a while there had been rats gnawing at the giant's body, but Ender had killed one with a pin from the giant's ragged shirt, and they had left him alone after that. The giant's corpse had essentially finished its decay. What could be torn by the small scavengers was torn. The maggots had done their work on the organs. Now it was a desiccated mummy, hollowed out, teeth in a rigid grin, eyes empty, fingers curled. Ender remembered burrowing through the eye when it had been alive and malicious and intelligent. Angry and frustrated as he was, Ender wished to do such violence again. But the giant had become part of the landscape now, and so there could be no rage against him. Ender had always gone over the bridge to the castle of the Queen of Hearts, where there were games enough for him, but none of those appealed to him now. He went around the giant's corpse and followed the brook upstream to where it emerged from the forest. There was a playground there, slides and monkey bars, teeter-totters and merry-go-rounds, with a dozen children laughing as they played. Ender came and found that in the game he had become a child, though usually his figure in the games was adult. In fact, he was smaller than the other children. He got in line for the slide. The other children ignored him. He climbed up to the top, watched the boy before him whirl down the long spiral to the ground. Then he sat and began to slide. He had not slid for a moment when he fell right through the slide and landed on the ground under the ladder. The slide would not hold him. Neither would the monkey bars. He could climb a ways, but then at random a bar seemed to be insubstantial and he fell. He could sit on the seesaw until he rose to the apex, then he fell. When the merry-go-round went fast, he could not hold on to any of the bars, and centrifugal force hurled him off. And the other children, their laughter was raucous, offensive. They circled around him and pointed and laughed for many seconds before they went back to their play. Ender wanted to hit them, to throw them in the brook. Instead, he walked into the forest. He found a path, which soon became an ancient brick road, much overgrown with weeds, but still usable. There were hints of possible games off to either side, but Ender followed none of them. He wanted to see where the path led. It led to a clearing, with a well in the middle and a sign that said, "Drink, traveler." Ender went forward and looked at the well. Almost at once he heard a snarl. Out of the woods emerged a dozen slavering wolves with human faces. Ender recognized them. They were the children from the playground. Only now their teeth could tear. Ender, weaponless, was quickly devoured. His next figure appeared, as usual, in the same spot, and was eaten again, though Ender tried to climb down into the well. The next appearance, though, was at the playground. Again, the children laughed at him. Laugh all you like, Ender thought. I know what you are. He pushed one of them. She followed him, angry. Ender led her up the slide. Of course, he fell through, but this time, following so closely behind him, she also fell through. When she hit the ground, she turned into a wolf and lay there, dead or stunned. One by one, Ender led each of the others into the trap. But before he had finished off the last of them, the wolves began reviving and were no longer children. Ender was torn apart again. This time, shaking and sweating, Ender found his figure revived on the giant's table. I should quit, he told himself. I should go to my new army. But instead he made his figure drop down from the table and walk around the giant's body to the playground. This time, as soon as a child hit the ground and turned into a wolf, Ender dragged the body to the brook and pulled it in. Each time, the body sizzled as though the water were acid. The wolf was consumed, and a dark cloud of smoke arose and drifted away. The children were easily dispatched, though they began following him in twos and threes at the end. Ender found no wolves waiting for him in the clearing, and he lowered himself into the well on the bucket of rope. The light in the cavern was dim, but he could see piles of jewels. He passed them by, noting that, behind him, eyes glinted among the gems. A table covered with food did not interest him. He passed through a group of cages hanging from the ceiling of the cave, each containing some exotic, friendly-looking creature. "I'll play with you later," Ender thought. At last he came to a door with these words in glowing emeralds: "The end of the world." He did not hesitate. He opened the door and stepped through. He stood on a small ledge, high on a cliff overlooking a terrain of bright and deep green forest, with dashes of autumn color, and patches here and there of cleared land, with ox-drawn plows and small villages, a castle on a rise in the distance, and clouds riding currents of air below him. Above him, the sky was the ceiling of a vast cavern, with crystals dangling in bright stalactites. The door closed behind him. Ender studied the scene intently. With the beauty of it, he cared less for survival than usual. He cared little at the moment what the game of this place might be. He had found it, and seeing it was its own reward. And so, with no thought of consequences, he jumped from the ledge. Now he plummeted downward toward a roiling river and savage rocks. But a cloud came between him and the ground as he fell, and caught him and carried him away. It took him to the tower of the castle, and through the open window, bearing him in. There it left him, in a room with no apparent door in floor or ceiling, and windows looking out over a certainly fatal fall. A moment ago he had thrown himself from a ledge carelessly. This time he hesitated. The small rug before the fire unraveled itself into a long, slender serpent with wicked teeth. "I am your only escape," it said. "Death is your only escape." Ender looked around the room for a weapon, when suddenly the screen went dark. Words flashed around the rim of the desk. "Report to Commander immediately. You are late. Green, green, brown." Furious, Ender snapped off the desk and went to the color wall, where he found the ribbon of green, green, brown, touched it, and followed it as it lit up before him. The dark green, light green, and brown of the ribbon reminded him of the early autumn kingdom he had found in the game. "I must go back there," he told himself. "The serpent is a long thread. I can let myself down from the tower and find my way through the place. Perhaps it's called the end of the world because it's the end of the games, because I can go to one of the villages and become one of the little boys working and playing there, with nothing to kill and nothing to kill me, just living there." As he thought of it, though, he could not imagine what, quote, "just living" might actually be. He had never done it in his life, but he wanted to do it anyway. Armies were larger than launch groups, and the army barracks room was larger too. It was long and narrow, with bunks on both sides, so long, in fact, that you could see the curvature of the floor as the far end bent upward, part of the wheel of the battle school. Ender stood at the door. A few boys near the door glanced at him, but they were older, and it seemed as though they hadn't even seen him. They went on with their conversations, lying and leaning on bunks. They were discussing battles, of course, The older boys always did. They were all much larger than Ender. The 10 and 11-year-olds towered over him. Even the youngest were 8, and Ender was not large for his age. He tried to see which of the boys was the commander, but most were somewhere between battle dress and what the soldiers always called their sleep uniform, skin from head to toe. Many of them had desks out, but few were studying. Ender stepped into the room. The moment he did, he was noticed. "What do you want?" demanded the boy who had the upper bunk by the door. He was the largest of them. Ender had noticed him before, a young giant who had whiskers growing raggedly on his chin. "You're not a salamander." "I'm supposed to be, I think," Ender said. "Green, green, brown, white, right? I was transferred." He showed the boy, obviously the door guard, his paper. The door guard reached for it. Ender withdrew it just out of reach. "I'm supposed to give it to Bonzo Madrid." Now another boy joined the conversation, a smaller boy, but still larger than Ender. "Not Bonzo, pisshead. Bonzo. The name's Spanish. Bonzo Madrid. Aquí nosotros hablamos español, señor Gran Fedor." Oh. "You must be Bonzo then?" Ender asked, pronouncing the name correctly. "No, just a brilliant and talented polyglot. Petra Arcanian, the only girl in Salamander Army, with more balls than anyone else in the room." "Mother Petra, she talking," said one of the boys. She talking. Another one chimed in. Shit talking. Quite a few laughed. "Just between you and me," Petra said, "if they gave the battle school an enema, they'd stick it in at green, green, brown." Ender despaired. He already had nothing going for him. Grossly undertrained, small, inexperienced, doomed to be resented for an early advancement. And now, by chance, he had made exactly the wrong friend. An outcast in Salamander Army, and she had just linked him with her in the minds of the rest of the army. A good day's work. For a moment, as Ender looked around at the laughing, jeering faces, he imagined their bodies covered with hair, their teeth pointed for tearing. Am I the only human being in this place? Are all the others animals, waiting only to devour? Then he remembered a lie. In every army, surely, there was at least one worth knowing. Suddenly, though no one said to be quiet, the laughter stopped and the group fell silent. Ender turned to the door. A boy stood there, tall and slender, with beautiful black eyes and slender lips that hinted at refinement. "I would follow such beauty," said something inside Ender. "I would see as those eyes see." "Who are you?" asked the boy quietly. "Ender Wiggins, sir," Ender said. "Reassigned from launch to Salamander Army." He held out the orders. The boy took the paper in a swift, sure movement, without touching Ender's hand. "How old are you, Wiggin?" he asked. "Almost 7. Still quietly, he said, "I asked how old you are, not how old you almost are." "I'm 6 years, 9 months, and 12 days old." "How long have you been working in the battle room?" "A few months now. My aim is better." "Any training in battle maneuvers? Have you ever been part of a toon? Have you ever carried out a joint exercise?" Ender had never heard of such things. He shook his head. Madrid looked at him steadily. I see. As you will quickly learn, the officers in command of this school, most notably Major Anderson, who runs the game, are fond of playing tricks. Salamander Army is just beginning to emerge from indecent obscurity. We've won 12 of our last 20 games. We've surprised Rat and Scorpion and Hound, and we are ready to play for leadership in the game. So of course, I am given such a useless, untrained, hopeless specimen of underdevelopment as yourself. Petra said quietly, He isn't glad to meet you. Shut up, Arcanian, Madrid said. To one trial we now add another. But whatever obstacles our officers choose to fling in our path, we are still Salamander, cried the soldiers in one voice. Instinctively, Ender's perception of these events changed. It was a pattern, a ritual. Madrid was not trying to hurt him, merely taking control of a surprising event and using it to strengthen his control of his army. We are the fire that will consume them, belly and bowel, head and heart, many flames of us, but one fire. Salamander, they cried again. Even this one will not weaken us. For a moment, Ender allowed himself to hope. I'll work hard and learn quickly, he said. I didn't give you permission to speak, Madrid answered. I intend to trade you away as quickly as I can. I'll probably have to give up someone valuable along with you. But as small as you are worthless, you are worse than useless. One more frozen, inevitably, in every battle, that's all you are. And we're now at a point where every frozen soldier makes a difference in the standings. Nothing personal, Wigan, but I'm sure you can get your training at someone else's expense. He's all heart, Petra said. Madrid stepped closer to the girl and slapped her across the face with the back of his hand. It made little sound, for only his fingernails had hit her, but there were bright red marks, 4 of them, on her cheek, and little pricks of blood marks where the tips of his fingernails had struck. Here are your instructions, Wigan. I expect that it is the last time I'll need to speak to you. You will stay out of the way when we're training in the battle room. You have to be there, of course, but you will not belong to any tune, and you will not take part in any maneuvers. When we're called to battle, you will dress quickly and present yourself at the gate with everyone else. But you will not pass through the gate until 4 full minutes after the beginning of the game, and then you will remain at the gate with your weapons undrawn and unfired until such time as the game ends. Ender nodded. So he was to be nothing. He hoped the trade happened soon. He also noticed that Petra did not so much as cry out in pain or touch her cheek, though one spot of blood had beaded and run, making a streak down to her jaw. Outcast she may be, but since Bonso Madrid was not going to be Ender's friend, no matter what, he might as well make friends with Petra. He was assigned a bunk at the far end of the room, the upper bunk, so that when he lay on his bed, he couldn't even see the door. The curve of the ceiling blocked it. There were other boys near him, tired-looking boys, sullen, the ones least valued. They had nothing of welcome to say to Ender. Ender tried to palm his locker open, but nothing happened. Then he realized the lockers were not secured. All 4 of them had rings on them to pull them open. Nothing would be private then, now that he was in an army. There was a uniform in the locker, not the pale green of the launchies, but the orange-trimmed dark green of Salamander Army. It did not fit well, but then they had probably never had to provide such a uniform for a boy so young. He was starting to take it off when he noticed Petra walking down the aisle toward his bed. He slid off the bunk and stood on the floor to greet her. "Relax," she said. "I'm not an officer." "You're a toon leader, aren't you?" Someone nearby snickered. "Whatever gave you that idea, Wiggin? You have a bunk in the front." "I bunk in the front because I'm the best sharpshooter in Salamander Army, and because Bonso is afraid I'll start a revolution if the toon leaders don't keep an eye on me. As I could start anything with boys like these." She indicated the sullen-faced boys on the nearby bunks. What was she trying to do? Make it worse than it already was? "Everybody's better than I am," Ender said, trying to dissociate himself from her contempt for the boys who would, after all, be his near bunkmates. "I'm a girl," she said, "and you're a pissant of a 6-year-old. We have so much in common. Why don't we be friends?" "I won't do your desk work for you," he said. In a moment, she realized it was a joke. "Ha," she said. "It's all so military when you're in the game. School for us isn't like it is for launchies. History and strategy and tactics and buggers and math and stars. Things you'll need as a pilot or a commander. You'll see." "So you're my friend. Do I get a prize?" Ender asked. He was imitating her swaggering way of speaking, as if she cared about nothing. "Bonso isn't going to let you practice. He's going to make you take your desk to the battle room and study. He's right, in a way. He don't want a totally untrained little kid to screw up his precision maneuvers." She lapsed into Giria, the slangy talk that imitated the pidgin English of uneducated people. "Bonso, he precise. He's so careful. He piss on a plate and never splash." Ender grinned. "The battle room is open all the time. If you want, I'll take you in the off hours and show you some of the things I know. I'm not a great soldier, but I'm pretty good, and I sure know more than you." "If you want," Ender said. "Starting tomorrow morning after breakfast." "What if somebody's using the room? We always went right after breakfast in my launch." "No problem. There are really 9 battle rooms." "I never heard of any others." "They all have the same entrance. The whole center of the battle school, the hub of the wheel, is battle rooms. They don't rotate with the rest of the station. That's how they do the nullo, the no gravity. It just holds still. No spin, no down. But they can set it up so that any one of the rooms is at the battle room entrance corridor that we all use. Once you're inside, they move it along and another battle room's in position." "Oh. Like I said, right after breakfast." "Right," Ender said. She started to walk away. "Petra," he said. She turned back. "Thanks." She said nothing, just turned around again and walked down the aisle. Ender climbed back on his bunk and finished taking off his uniform. He lay naked on the bed, doodling with his new desk, trying to decide if they had done anything to his access codes. Sure enough, they had wiped out his security system. He couldn't own anything here, not even his desk. The lights dimmed a little, getting toward bedtime. Ender didn't know which bathroom to use. "Go left out of the door," said the boy on the next bunk. "We share it with Rat, Condor, and Squirrel." Ender thanked him and started to walk on past. "Hey," said the boy. You can't go like that. Uniforms at all times out of this room. Even going to the toilet? Especially. And you're forbidden to speak to anyone from any other army, at meals or in the toilet. You can get away with it sometimes in the game room, but of course, whenever a teacher tells you to. But if Bonzo catches you, you're dead, eh? Thanks. And, Bonzo get mad if you skin by Petra. Was she naked when I came in? She was naked when I came in, wasn't she? She do what she like, but you keep your clothes on. Bonzo's orders. That was stupid. Petra still looked like a boy. It was a stupid rule. It set her apart, made her different, split the army. Stupid, stupid. How did Bonzo get to be a commander if he didn't know better than that? Alai would be a better commander than Bonzo. He knew how to bring a group together. I know how to bring a group together too, thought Ender. Maybe I'll be commander someday. In the bathroom, he was washing his hands when somebody spoke to him. Hey, they putting babies in salamander uniforms now? Ender didn't answer, just dried off his hands. Hey look, Salamander's getting babies now. Look at this. He could walk between my legs without touching my balls. 'Cause he got none, Dink, that's why, somebody answered. As Ender left the room, he heard somebody else say, It's Wiggin. You know, the smart-ass launchy from the game room. He walked down the corridor smiling. He may be short, but they knew his name. From the game room, of course, so it meant nothing. But they'd see. He'd be a good soldier, too. They'd all know his name soon enough. Not in Salamander Army, maybe, but soon enough. I think I have to stop there because I still have 15 pages and soccer ended 15 minutes ago. So you should be home in maybe 10 minutes, and that was 15 pages and it took me 37 minutes, so I can't do that. I'm realizing I'm gonna have a hard time remembering how to pronounce all of these names, because I think I had said Alai last time, but now that I'm thinking about it, maybe his name is Ally, because this is a young adult children's book, and how on the nose would it be to name this person Ally? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's spelled A-L-A-I. I'm gonna keep saying Ally, but I'm really thinking they meant ally. But that's just too much. I'm not interested in doing that. I'm not gonna remember Bonzo. Sorry. That's Bonzo. It's just gonna be Bonzo. I can't remember. I'm reading this book across months. I'm not gonna remember to say Bonzo. Sorry. What else was it? Oh, Valentine. Whatever his sister's name is. I can't remember if I said Valentine or Valentine in the first couple of chapters. It's Valentine now. I'm not gonna remember. I'm just gonna go by Valentine because that's how it's spelled. The fact that he's still 6 years old, I really thought there was gonna be a time jump by now. We're on page 115. I thought that this was not gonna be a book about a 6-year-old the entire time, but I'm not confident anymore. Hops are not high. Wow. I don't know how many months it's been since I started this. I think I started it in June. Maybe. It's now August 12th. This is gonna take forever. This is going to take forever. I hope that I'm done by Christmas. I mean, there's over 360 pages in this book. I gotta go a little faster than this. But it is at least an interesting book. I find myself, as I'm reading it, like, actually getting interested in what's happening. So it's unfortunate that he's 6 years old, because I just don't feel right about that. But not even that I don't feel right about it, but I just don't give a fuck about a 6-year-old. But they're tricking me. They're getting me. I apparently give a fuck about a 6-year-old now. Because I am interested in what's gonna happen. But until next time when we finish chapter 7. But yeah, we're splitting that up into 2, because that's just, I can't do it all at once. And my mouth is so dry. I hope you can't, like, hear. Every time I'm reading these, my mouth gets so dry. It's disgusting. But I'm a professional. I can't stop for water. So it just is what it is. Anyway, you're gonna be home soon. So that's all I got for you. Bye!